This video is not for whales and dolphins. It's for you, because you are just like me. Average Duck Gamer here, and today we're going to be answering the question of should you pull for Evelyn? Okay, and in order to answer that question, we'll talk firstly about who she'll work well with in terms of teams, and then we'll touch on 3 different player types to consider different account states and whether you should be considering Evelyn for your account. Now, I'll say this at the start though, so it's not confused with all the rest of the yapping, but if you like Evelyn's character, gameplay, her design, then I think you should pull for her if you have the polychromes, because goddamn. I mean, anyway, let's first start talking about teams. So first things first, let's talk about who she's going to be best with, and then we'll kind of work our way down from there in terms of who is also going to work okay with her. So in terms of who she'll be best with and her best in-slot teams, we have Astra. So Astra is the only other Stars of Lyra character. She's going to be really, really useful for Evelyn. She's going to provide crit damage buff, attack buff, plus she's going to enable the additional chain attacks from Evelyn as well. So Astra is going to be incredibly useful with Evelyn. And then on the stun side, we have Lighter. So Lighter's going to drop fire resistance, and he's also going to buff fire damage. So yeah, those two together are going to be incredibly useful and definitely going to be Evelyn's best in slot teams. Now, on the other side of things, let's kind of take things back and then look at the support options that we have from a more budget perspective. So if you don't have Astra, I think running Evelyn with Lucy or Nicole is absolutely fine. I think if you had another limited S rank support, defense, i.e. Caesar, I think that's also completely reasonable. I think that Caesar's going to work pretty well with her. She'll provide a pretty big attack buff. Obviously, you're missing out on some of the nice stuff that Astra provides, but what you will be gaining is that interruption resistance from having Caesar. But on the A rank side, yeah, I think Nicole and Lucy are still going to be really, really useful for her and will buff her quite considerably. I also think if you absolutely had to, yeah, you like with any DPS agent, you could run Sukaku. You're going to miss out on the ice damage buff, but she still provides a pretty sizable attack buff, so something to consider there. I'd also say as well that if you end up on the stun side running a character like Khalida, then you could think about running Ben. Ben does provide a small crit rate buff. I think it is going to be quite easy to overcap on crit rate for Evelyn though, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend Ben, but if you wanted a team where Ben and Khalida are supporting a fire DPS, then now's your chance. Now is the opportunity for you to do that and actually deliver on being able to deal some pretty decent damage as well. Okay, so without much further ado then, let's talk about the other stun agent options. So of course we do have Caesar as well, so Caesar can also function as the stun there, so you could run Caesar with, say, Astra as the support or Lucy as the support or something along those lines to like kind of double buff the attack and then also provide a little bit of stun as well. You can also consider Qingyi, so Qingyi's going to provide a really big buff to that stun window, and so is Khalida. So Khalida's special ability is going to allow her to buff chain attacks while during the stun window, and that means that as long as you back-to-back the chain attacks during the stun window, it requires a little bit more thought, absolutely, running someone like Khalida, but it's actually not that different to running someone like Qingyi, because again, you just want to unload all of your damage during the stun window. Qingyi is going to be more effective, though, than someone like Khalida, but if you got Khalida by accident from a loss 50-50, then she is going to work pretty well as a stun agent. Something I will say though, if you have Astra, I don't actually think that you need to run a stun agent. I genuinely don't think it's a necessity. I also think this with other supports as well. You can very well run double support. Run Lucy and Nicole, run Astra and Lucy, run Astra and Nicole. I think if you have 2 out of those 3, I think that you could run a double support situation with Evelyn and you would also be fine. I've been turned onto a double support recently and I actually think it's goated. Stun is overrated, but yeah, if you want to run stun, Khalida, Qingyi, Lighter will do a fantastic job. Absolutely, yes. So we've kind of talked through the characters that she works pretty well with, but before we move on and start talking about different account states and whether or not you should consider Evelyn, this is your reminder that you probably aren't subscribed. Liking and subscribing is the best way to support small creators like me on YouTube. You can also drop me a follow over on Twitch. We'll be pulling Evelyn live when she comes out for me and a whole bunch of my community too. And you can join the Discord over there. That's where we plan for account reviews, organize things like these pool parties and stuff. So come on in. It's a good fun time. You can chat about Zenless Zone Zero, ask for help and advice, and anything else you might want to do. Okay, cool. So let's move on then and start talking about different account states. So if you're a day one player, if you have been playing Zenless Zone Zero since the beginning, You may or may not have pulled Astra because you were planning to pull for Evelyn. If you were planning to pull for Evelyn, I think you should still pull for her because that's going to keep you engaged. It's going to keep you wanting to come back and play the game more because you're pulling the character that you really, really like. However, if you do have Astra and you haven't considered pulling Evelyn, maybe you're just not sure whether or not you're actually going to like Evelyn as a character, I would definitely just give her a try out in some of the trial stuff that's available now, and then make your decision as to whether or not you do actually want to run her. I think if you're running a little bit light on DPS characters, then you might want to consider it. I think if you are a day one player though, you've been playing since the start, it's probably a reasonable expectation to say that you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that you've maybe got 5 or 6 limited DPS agents, even on a free-to-play or low-spend account, and I think it's not unreasonable to suggest that you probably are in a position where if you've been playing since day one, you can clear no matter what you have. You can clear Deadly Assault, you can clear Shield Defense, you can probably make 3 good teams, if not 2 good teams, then you are getting all of the polychrome rewards. I think if you're a day one player, it really just depends on, do you like Evelyn or not? Do you want to run Evelyn or not? And I think the big answer to that question is, do you have Astra and do you have Lighter? If you have Astra and or Lighter, then I think Evelyn's value goes up quite a bit. She's probably going to help you with those Fire Week stages, particularly if you don't have or don't enjoy playing Soldier 11. Moving on then, let's talk about a more casual player. So let's say a more casual player kind of dimps in and out of the game, and they might have some characters and they might not have other characters. They might have maybe 3 limited S ranks, and those 3 limited S ranks, they might work well together, or they might be 3 DPS characters that work on different teams, and that's fine. I think if that's you and your account is a more casual one and you've kind of come back to the game because maybe Astra looked super cool to you, or maybe Miyabi kind of brought you back and, now you're kind of playing catch up because you only have characters from the very start plus Miyabi. If that's you, I think that you should consider pulling for Evelyn if she appeals to you. I know that's the same advice as I just gave for the day one account, but yeah, I mean, it is, right? But yeah, if she appeals to you, then I think that's maybe when you should pull. I think that if you don't have Soldier 11 or you don't enjoy playing Soldier 11, maybe she's just sitting unupgraded, maybe you want that option to make sure you can make the most out of Fire Weakness, then yeah, it kind of makes sense. I think particularly if you have Lighter or you have Astra. If you have one of those, then the value of Evelyn goes up quite significantly. I think for a day one account that has lots of characters, you'll probably find no matter whether or not you pull Evelyn or not. Whereas if you're a character that's more in the middle, I think, from a keeping up with the meta kind of perspective, I think if you have one of those, then you're going to do quite a lot better than if you don't have one of those. Now, if you got like her second best in slot as opposed to her first best in slot for, say, Stunner, so let's say you have Chingy, so you're going to use her with Chingy, or you're planning to pull Chingy as well as her in the next patch, you've got a whole bunch of polychrome saved up, then again, it maybe makes a little bit more sense. But waifu over meta always, so, if you really like her, then yeah, sure, pull her. Okay, then let's use another player as an example as well. So let's say there's another player who has only recently started the game. Let's say they maybe came back because of Miyabi. Maybe they didn't even get enough polychrome to get Miyabi. Maybe they pulled Astra, maybe they pulled Miyabi. They're very new to the game. They only have one other limited S rank, and they're kind of now in a position where they're looking at Evelyn and they think that she looks cool. Again, if you think she looks cool, I think you should probably get her. But at that point, your account is so new, it's so fresh, it's such a baby, that it doesn't really matter what character you pull next. Evelyn is great, sure. I think that pulling a newer character, particularly a DPS, is probably more valuable than pulling an older character. I think if, Ellen is rerunning right now on the banner at the time I'm making this video, I think pulling a character like Evelyn is going to be a lot more valuable to you than a character like Ellen, because as time goes on, I made a whole video about power creep, things do change. So pulling the newer DPS character is going to be good for you. So yeah, pull Evelyn by all means. I think what I would also mention as well is I had someone who was in my Twitch the other day who asked a question. He only has Astra and he's going to pull Evelyn because he wants them to work together. And I said, that's great. You're going to run them together for story content. But as you start heading into the end game, if you only have 2 limited S ranks, you will have to split them up. So just bear that in mind. Because if you're going to be making 2 teams and you only have 2 limited S ranks, you'll probably want to run Astra with, I don't know, like a basic DPS. Maybe you got Haramasa for free. maybe use someone like Anton because his quick assist actually benefits from Astra quite a lot. But yeah, you may want to run Astra with another DPS and then a stun agent or something, and then you can run Evelyn on the other side. And let's say you run Evelyn with, say, Khalida, because you lost a 50-50, you got a Khalida, and then maybe Lucy or Nicole or something. You're going to be making it up as you go, but it's not like those two key teams won't be completely capable of clearing the endgame content. They absolutely will. But just to make you aware that if you are super new to the game and you're planning your teams right now, then you probably will have to split them up for quite a while. Ultimately, will you be able to get the gang back together and put Evelyn and Astra together? Yeah, but that's going to be in a few more characters' times so that you can actually build up the characters appropriately. And finally, what am I doing and why? Well, I'm still going to be pulling Evelyn because I really like her character, her design. I hate playing Soldier 11 because I just can't get my head around the timing mechanics. I know I could figure it out if I kept persevering with it, but I just don't want to. I really like Evelyn's design and character and her gameplay, so I'm gonna pull Evelyn. I'm in a position as a day one player where I can clear all of the content anyway, and it would be good for me to spread out my ability to make sure I can make the most of fire weakness by having a fire DPS who I really like playing. So that's why I'm going to be pulling Evelyn. Now, the smart play, though, is probably to wait. I think that the game is presenting us with these two attack characters back to back because we're getting Evelyn and then we're going on to Ambi Silver Soldier. And I think that the game is presenting us with these two characters kind of as a choice, right? Do you want Evelyn? Did you want to go back to back and get Astra and Evelyn? Or do you want to go back to back and get Ambi and Trigger? And for me, I pulled Astra. I have enough to get Evelyn, and that's why I'm going to stick to that and I'm going to get Evelyn. But, don't feel pressured in any way to get any of these characters, guys. Say for who you want, wife whoever meta. Honestly, the characters that you pull, if you make sure that they're the characters that you like, then you'll continue to play the game for longer because you'll be more excited about building up the characters who you really enjoy playing. Anyway, so with all of that said, this is me wrapping up. That's enough out of me. What do you guys think? What are you going to do? Let me know down below. And as always, remember to like and subscribe for better than average pulls. Join the Discord. Follow me on Twitch. Pull responsibly. Stay weird. Bye, 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 bye.